But do they have the same kind of weapons that the Israeli have?
So literally power?
I mean, and also when you say Palestinian Authority, which authority are you talking about? Really pissed me off when I was hearing the thing about these things. Like Hamas. Like, we have Netanyahu on tape confessing that he supported Hamas, gave him money in order to cause factions in between the Palestinians.
Is there some degree to where both leaderships, Hamas, PA, Palestinian Authority, all want war? Like perpetual war to remain in power? I mean, to which degree does Netanyahu represent the Israeli people? Is a real question. And to which degree does Hamas represent the Palestinian people? Well, who does have the power? You're giving a lot of power to Israel.
Yeah.
But
in this video, you are going to watch how Lex Fridman blatantly defends Israel and calling out Bassem Youssef and accusing Bassem Youssef of portraying Israel as a bully and making it look completely negative in front of the world to push a certain narrative. But Bassem Youssef didn't hold back. As always, he dismantled all of Lex Fridman's fake neutrality, exposing how Lex was only pretending to be objective in the podcast, when in reality he wasn't. So let's watch the video.
There's 13,000 babies killed. Does that mean that there are 13,000 military targets hiding in their diapers? Because it doesn't make any sense to kill that many babies. It's like, oh, oops, it is out of our head.
Is there any hope here? Solutions, short-term, long-term?
Obama have kind of summarized this beautifully in his book. He said, the reason why the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is so chronic is one side have so much power and the other side have absolutely no power. And that's what he said. He said, like, you have Israel that basically don't listen to us because they're supported by people who are bigger than the president, bigger than the administration. They know that they can. I mean, like like Netanyahu was caught on tape many times saying, like, he's basically like belittling Americans. Like, we control 80% of the population. We don't care. Because at the end of the day, what is compromise? Compromise is like, I give something, you give something. Israel is not giving anything.
I agree with Bassem Youssef, but I disagree on the point that Israel is not giving anything. And the reason for me to disagree is Israel is actually giving many things to Palestine. Israel is giving fake interviews, spreading fake narratives and fake agendas. You won't going to believe that after keeping the food trucks stopped for weeks so that the Palestinians don't get food properly, and here Benjamin Netanyahu is saying Hamas is stealing food and selling it to Palestinians for more money on the Nelk Boys podcast.
Why do they say Israel's like starving the people of Gaza?
Well, because we're trying to get the food in, and we let food trucks in, and guess what happens when we let them in? Hamas steals the food, takes the good chunk for itself. Then they jack up the prices, and then they sell the food to its population, to its hungry population, if they give them at all. And then use the money that they take from their own people to recruit more killers into their terror machine.
Did you see that? What Netanyahu just said? Guys, really, I swear to God, sometimes I get so confused. Are these creatures real or AI? Because, it becomes so hard for me to convince my brain that how can a real person blatantly tell lies when the whole world has evidence of your actions? Bro, at least have some shame and some decency. If it's really mandatory for you to speak lies, at least do it within limits. Why do you need to spread lies so unbelievable that people start to laugh even at these serious comments? Okay guys, let's continue with the video.
Is there some degree to where both leaderships, Hamas, PA, Palestinian Authority, all want war? Like perpetual war to remain in power?
But my problem when going into discussion this is that the two sides are not equal. They're not equal in power, they're not equal in influence, and they're not equal in international support, especially by the United States. So Palestinians the people who have made changes in history were the people with power, the people who would have the ability to change things. And the Palestinians cannot really change it. What can they change?
Well, is that true though?
Okay.
With how much support the Palestinian people have. So just like you said, there's a lot of Arab states that will voice their pro-Palestinian position in order to distract from the own corruption and abuses of power in their own countries. But I don't think if you look globally, there's a complete asymmetry of power and public opinion here. Maybe in the press in the West, but if you look globally,
From this point, as you can see, after Bassem Youssef cleared out so many points on Israel being the ultimate power holder and the powerful country, USA also supports Israel, and that Palestine doesn't hold even 1% of a chance to fight with Israel. When Lex Fridman saw that from Bassem Youssef's statement Israel was getting portrayed as the bully, you can see he immediately tried to validate and somehow bring in all the bullshit facts and news to claim that Palestine also has an edge over Israel, which is totally false. Everyone knows Palestine is not in even 1% condition and doesn't have any support, not even from Arab countries, to fight with Israel. But after that, what Bassem Youssef replied with just shut down the mouth of Lex Fridman totally.
But do they have the same kind of weapons that the Israeli have?
so literally power, no, there's a major asymmetry of literal power.
Some money to their leaders? Does that make any difference? And this is the thing also that kind of like really pissed me off when I was hearing the thing about this thing. Like Hamas. Like, we have Netanyahu on tape confessing that he supported Hamas, gave him money in order to cause factions in between the Palestinians. So it's just like, it doesn't make, you just told me this. You just told me this. You just told me Netanyahu supports Hamas. It's like, but Hamas, like what?
I mean, to which degree does Netanyahu represent the Israeli people? Is a real question.
To which point does Trump or Biden represent the American people?
And to which degree does Hamas represent the Palestinian people?
Does none of these represent it, but who have the power in order to make the decisions? It really comes down to that.
Well, who does have the power? You're giving a lot of power to Israel.
Yeah.
But the Arab League...
What should Hamas do? What do you think should Hamas do?
Continue doing what a charter says, which is trying to destroy Israel. And the role of the Palestinian people is to overthrow Hamas and get a more moderate leadership, probably. And the role of the Israeli people is to vote out this right-wing government and elect a more moderate leader so that there's a
Guys, I told you before, this guy just cannot take the criticism, cannot take Bassem Youssef's valid points that Israel is way more powerful than Palestine. And it really doesn't make any sense to compare that Palestine can fight back with Israel without casualties. And after listening to all that, Lex Fridman couldn't take it anymore. And finally, he showed his real face, his real agenda, and opened up by criticizing Bassem Youssef, saying he is giving more power to Israel. Hey Lex, this is a question from me to you. Why wouldn't Bassem Youssef say that Israel is more powerful than Palestine? Are you blind? You call yourself an educated podcaster. Can't you see what Israel is doing to Palestine? Can't you see how Palestinians can't even manage food for everyday survival? How do they fight with Israel? And guys, this Lex Fridman has a long-standing reputation for supporting agendas and spreading lies. You can take a little glimpse from this video.
Depending on who you ask, Lex Fridman is a super genius, former professor at MIT, truth-telling podcast aficionado. Other people will say he's a lying industry plant grifter who pushes certain narratives based on whatever will make him famous under the guise of neutrality and working for a greater good. When I first encountered Lex Fridman, I saw him as more of a. I mean, the man taught at MIT and had an academic paper endorsed by me and Elon Musk. That's pretty remarkable stuff, but the more I look into this man, the more I realize that almost everything he does is deceptive, embellished, or just a flat-out lie.
Did you see that? Now my question is, do you think in this podcast Lex Fridman raised any valid points in the conversation? Don't you think he's more interested in defending Israel for their actions rather than trying to listen to Bassem Youssef's point where he pointed out the cruelty Israel is showing to Palestine? Let me know what you think. I would really like to know your point of view on this.
Hands at peace with two moderate leaders.
Those are like Hamas, again, not defending them. They went into October 7th. What was their, why did they did that? Like release our hostages, the people in prison. Because if you're talking about people who were kidnapped, Israel kidnaps people every single day. And when they had the first exchange on November 4th, Israel released 400 people, 3/4 of them were women and children. Why are those people in prison? There's 1 in 4 kids that are imprisoned that stay in solitary confinement, which is by international law a form of torture. That Arab states don't really have the power. all of the powers are in the hands of
I think
America.
they have the power. See, I think they have the power. I don't.
Maybe they don't want to use it.
They don't want. Well,
maybe
that's
they don't. Maybe they don't
because
wanna
there's a benefit. Like
Maybe there's a
the dark sense I have is that a lot of people win from the suffering that Palestinians are going through because they can point to that and
Definitely.
distract from
Definitely.
corruption in their own states. And then obviously Iran can benefit also from the same kind of dynamic, distracting from the authoritarian nature of their regime. It's actually an indirect threat. It's like,
Yes.
even saying Muslims cannot feel safe in America or something like this. That means like that's a threat.
So you can just see Lex Fridman invited Bassem Youssef, and it was clear that Lex had it in mind even before the podcast started what he was trying to accomplish. That is to frame whatever Israel is doing, they are doing for self-defense. And to argue that Palestine is not that much weaker than Israel, that's the reason Lex Fridman is trying to bring those points to make Palestine more powerful in front of the world, which Palestine isn't. Everyone knows that. If I had to summarize, he basically trying to say people are exaggerating, people are making it so big on Israel's action and making it a big thing, which from Lex Fridman point of view, Israel is not that powerful. So I leave the question to you guys. What do you think about Lex Fridman's takes on Israel? Let me know your point of view in the comments. And guys, I'm so close to hitting that 1000 subscribers. Please, it's free. Support the channel and just click on that subscribe button. You can do it. And again, thanks for watching.